Councillor Raquel Ghani, Chris Calendar, and Imran Khan from Barataria. Those numbers would have been so significant that we were able to get another alderman. We had one there before, and now we have two. It is my pleasure to bring on our second alderman in the corporation, a young man who is very dynamic, who understands the struggles because of the things that he would have gone through. So it is my humble privilege to welcome Alderman Kareem Baird. Could you bring him on with a round of applause, please?
Good night, UNC family. Good night, UNC family. Good night, UNC family. We want to say good night to our political leader on her way, all members of the panel, all UNC activists, all brothers, sisters, friends, family, well-wishers to Trinidad and Tobago. A pleasant, pleasant, pleasant good night. I am Alderman Kareem Baird. December the 17th, the reality of life that many of us are facing hit my home. When I lost my wife and my brother-in-law to crime on December the 17th at court, it still is a daunting experience to witness, to understand, to feel. Every day you still go through the pain and the hurt. Every day I watch my 3-year-old son and have to answer the question, where mommy? Why mommy not coming home? Why mommy not waking up? That, my brothers and sisters, is something I don't wish for anyone. The question after that I ask is how much people that this happen to on a daily basis, that no one says anything, that we just allow to pass, that we allow to escape. It is sad, it is saddening. I cry. I cried not just for my family, but for the families that had to go through this. And yet this government is clearly not interested. The process, the feeling that you had to go through, the pain, the things that you would read on social media about your loved ones, who you know waking up hard every day, going to work, doing what they have to do, the innocent. We're talking about the innocent being gunned down. And yet we quiet. Yet the Minister of Security, the sad and the hurtful part, brothers and sisters, that is the MP for the area that they were born in. And not a word, not a comment, not even a visit. The councillors, nothing. This is sad. How much families must go through this every time for we as a people to feel something, to understand something, to actually stand strong together and actually fight against this. Because it's not getting better. It's getting worse. So each day you wake up, every day now you wake up and you have to realize who gone again. It hit my home, so I understand not from a political experience, but from a family man. When you go home, nobody's home. Where's the justice? The system by itself creates you to get tired. So you don't even to fight it because the system's so long. You charge the man, yeah, cool, nice. And then after that you hear nothing about it, it dies. But I am here, brothers and sisters. This shall not continue. I am not just fighting this for my family, but I want to fight it for Laventille East. Laventille West, because it comes as it's a Laventille thing, it's a sour thing, once you in the east-west corridor, it doesn't make sense. They don't care. Plainly, brothers and sisters, they don't care. It's sad. Have you ever, or could you ever think about you going home, preparing to go home, and then you had to stop short because your wife died and lie down on the ground like a dog? And no one even bothers to care because they term them as a criminal or bandit. And that, my brothers and sisters, to some in the government is okay. Tonight I saying it's not okay. We're not taking that. We're not taking that. Time for us to actually stand up and do something about this, because it is hitting our homes. It's not just it's our homes. It's your home, it's my home. How safe do you feel? How safe do you really feel? When they are comfortable with their security and telling you outside safe. Outside safe for you because you have your security, but outside not safe for me. Outside not safe for my brother. I don't know if who coming behind me because they killed my wife. I don't know. How safe am I? If something has happened to me, what is going to happen to my 3-year-old son, our orphan? You throw him in somewhere about? Come on. The security minister needs to be removed. He needs to be removed. The government of Trinidad and Tobago needs to be removed. Because I remember clearly, in opposition, he said, if a government cannot see about crime, then they don't deserve to be in government. Now you refuse to go, crime rate is skyrocketing, and you refuse to give up. While we, your nation, killed, robbed, murdered, gunned down. And you talking about security plans with America. You talking security. We don't need talk no more. Talk done. Talk done. We need some sort of action, not just as a people, but as a nation. We need to feel safe. We need to feel comforted. We need to be able to walk the streets and say, okay, I could reach home safe. You stand up too late in a certain area, you want to call a TT right here because you're unsafe. You don't know. When would this end? When would they actually meet with United National Congress and talk crime? Instead of blaming Kamla, start to do something and see that you're blaming yourself. You're pointing at her, but what are you doing? We still dying. The murder rate's still raising, and all we keep hearing is complaints, but we still jamming. We comfortable as a people, but we in the UNC not comfortable. We very uncomfortable because we see the need. Where I represent Laventille East Mover, it's hard. So I understand now when a family and a mother say my son was innocent. Maybe they really was innocent. Who am I to say now because they said my wife was a murderer and she came to rob? But every day she got up and I dropped she to work and then I picked she up. So then now I questioning now the police force. Because clearly Earla don't understand what she doing. She don't understand not one thing she doing. So now I even more scared. So then now the question is how much guilty and how much innocent. Because the police was innocent until they realized he damn well guilty. But we ain't hearing nothing about that because he in the force. But here in the UNC we say justice for all. What good for the goose, good for the gander. And we're not taking that just so. My brothers and sisters, it's time we stand up. It's time that we acknowledge that our nation is going down a road that if we don't catch it, it will be too late. They say there's a missing generation. We had to find them. We had to find that generation and bring it back to some sort of stability. That is what we need. We need not just to go to church and pray, Because as a bishop, I just go to church and pray every Sunday. So prayers alone can't work. We need to put prayer with action. Because the Bible declares prayer without work is dead. So that ain't making sense that you're only praying, but you're not working. We had the faith, but faith without work too is still dead. So I had the faith that it'll go get better, but I had to put in some kind of work. And this government not putting in no work. It is plain that it okay. It is plain Trinidad and Tobago, UNC family, that they don't care nothing. Once they're all right, that's all mattered. But today, remember me. Remember that we can't let this continue to happen. At 35 years old, I never expect to bury my wife. She not sick. By gunshot. Innocent. How hard that is. Sit down where you is for 2 minutes and just kind of think how hard it is to comprehend just that. One day you're going home to your family, and then next day, 1 minute you're talking on the phone, and then next minute, that's it. Time for us to wake up. Time for us to understand that something is wrong. And this government do not care. Let us stand together. Let us stand together. Let us stand together. They say together we stand. No. Divided we fall. If we don't stand together, then who would stand for us? Stand with who is standing for you. And when they stand, make sure and put your best foot forward and walk and stand with them nation. The nation crying. The young ones dying. The old ones dying. Crime is so much. And that is just crime. We ain't talking about the social and the economic problems. We're talking about the thing that have us scared right now. Think about it. Trinidad and Tobago, think about it. Let us now stand and ensure our future. Stand and ensure that something needs to happen and something needs to come from this. We can't take it no more. We can't go down the road right through with this. What kind of life we would have? What kind of state we would have? No one expects that. We know that at some point you have to die. But the way it is done and what happens after that is most important. And once this government can't reach out to people and actually become a human, because they're inhumane. So we need some sort of humans to manage this country. We need a human that understands the pain of losing a child and the pain of losing a family member, the pain of being hungry, the trials to get your child to go to school. We need a human that actually understands what it is to be alive and what it is to have life. That is why we need Kamla Persad-Bissessar. She understands. So today, brothers and sisters, UNC family, let us stand strong together. Let us fight this fight. And together, only together, not divided, not separated, but together, we could do this. We have this. We could do this and we could change this system right from where we are by just this finger when the time comes. When the time comes, let us show them that we don't accept this and we're not accepting it anymore. We tried our best, but we can't no more. So my brothers and sisters, stand strong. Stand together. And may God bless you. May God keep you safe. May God guide us. May God cover us and continue to be our guide and watch us when we call. My brothers and sisters, tonight I ask you to join with us, stand with your MPs, your councillors, your aldermen, and let us do this together. Let us do this together. UNC family, I love you all from the bottom of my heart. May God bless and keep all of us. A pleasant good night.
Yeah. Never let your problems get you down. Stay focused and hold your ground. Because what will kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids.
UNC family, let's hear it once more for Alderman Kareem Baird. It is true testimony, boy. You can't get more real than that. A man of great truth, a performer for the United National Congress, a new brother to the South Laventille Regional Corporation. Welcome. Welcome. Pleased to have you next to me, brother. At this point in time, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce to you my sister in the politics. From since UTAM days in the UNC, a fighter, a mother, a champion, a true servant to the people. She sits with us on the corridor in the highest level of representation for the United National Congress. She's the former chairman of the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation, vice chairman of the United National Congress at the national executive level, former senator. Brothers and sisters, El Soccorro, Barataria San Juan, let Trinidad hear you as we welcome our sister, Member of Parliament for St. Augustine. Y'all make some noise for Khadijah Ameen.
Sisters of Barataria, San Juan, of St. Augustine constituency and environs, a special good evening to each of you. Member of Parliament for Barataria, San Juan, my brother Saddam Hosein. Give Saddam a round of applause. And of course, to our distinguished leader of the UNC, the woman who will be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar. My brothers and sisters, there is no doubt that this government is failing the children of our nation. And tonight, as a mother, I want to reflect on how deep hurting our children from the government's perspective will affect our future. There is no better way to invest in the future of a nation than through the children of our country. And there is no doubt that this Keith Rowley government is mucking it up. In the last 8.5 years, this Rowley-led government has messed up every area of children's well-being that the state is responsible for, every area. They have scrapped the progress made by the government led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar that put us on a world stage because of their incompetence. Our most vulnerable children with disabilities have been hit by this government's incompetence and carelessness. Do you know that parents, children with cerebral palsy were given a special allowance by the government led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar, and that this PNM government scrapped that allowance? There was a National Enrichment Center for Persons with Disabilities that was built by the People's Partnership Government in 2015 to provide, rehabilitation services and so on for people with cerebral palsy, physical and motor neuron disease, hearing and speech disabilities. And when the PNM took up office, they refused to open that center for 3 years. And after protests and protests by parents, they finally did open it. But last year, they come and throw the children out of the center, the cerebral palsy children. I want to commend MP Vandana Mohit, our UNC shadow for social welfare, and Mayor Faik Mohammed, with the guidance of our political leader, who came to the rescue of the cerebral palsy children to provide accommodation for those children to continue to get therapy. It was under the UNC that children with disabilities were given disability allowance. And at this time, I want you to stand in your numbers here in Barataria as we welcome the political leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar.
Trials and testings does come before blessings, but we have to be patient, yeah. Weeping and mourning in the night, but joy in the morning. But we just have to endure. You see, God, the way the night come, so you don't really need to lie down. Them say what goes around comes right back around. I go wait until the time come. So from sun up straight to sunset, you can catch I bust in a sweat. I must climb up. I feel like hope. Move any mountain, I trample any building like hope. Man, better than monster. Dismantle any structure, boy. Trample them, trample them, trample them, trample them. Rip up my shot and bust up my chin and step on my problems. Then what we gonna do? Trample them, trample them, trample them. Kick out them, kick out my problems, kick out my problems. You see, the Most High never give us more than we can bear, but He give us the strength and the will and the power and the courage to handle our problems through Him. So on the count of four, I want everybody step on their problems. 1, 2, 3, 4. Trample them, trample them, trample them, trample them. Manhandle them, manhandle them. Dismantle them, dismantle them. Trample them, trample them, trample them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the best Prime Minister that Trinidad and Tobago ever had, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar.
So they push you down so you get up. They have to wonder how you just get up. And every crack you see, you just see through. And by the help of God, you will get through. Now everybody shout, I feel.
And just as the leader was entering, I was on the point that under the UNC, disability allowances were given to children and parents of children who qualified. And the parents were given food cards. This government has scrapped the food cards of many of those disabled children's parents and kicked off many of those children from receiving disability allowance. It was this Kamla Persad-Bissessar-led government that created the Children's Life Fund. All you remember that? To help children who needed life-saving medical treatment abroad. Hundreds of children benefited, and they would have died otherwise. In 2013 alone, there were 103 surgeries performed under the Children's Life Fund. And under the PNM, we have seen a rapid decline. In 2019, only 13 surgeries were performed, 13. That is how much this government does not care about the children of our country. When it comes to education, the UNC government worked towards eradicating inequality in education, giving every single child a better chance. Under the leadership of Kamla Persad-Bissessar, the United Nations, not the United National Congress, the United Nations recognized Trinidad and Tobago for providing free early childhood education for all, preschool education for every child. It was her laptop program that was one of those flagship successes that worked towards leveling the playing field in this country, providing over 95,000 laptops to students. And our leader led a government that provided internet access to 75% of primary school and 100% of secondary schools. Let me ask you, Barataria, let me ask you, Trinidad and Tobago, how many laptops have been distributed to students in the last 8 years? But I bet you that every government minister who has a child, that child have a laptop. Because they do not care about the ordinary citizens. Our schools have been facing so much disarray. This government is not even capable of opening schools that were already built. They refused to open completed schools, schools that were 90% complete under the former UNC government. Just last year, the Minister of Education said that only 13 out of 80 schools that the PNM met under construction over a decade ago were open. Almost a decade ago, and 13 schools? Come now, man. Well, it can't be serious. Right in my constituency in St. Augustine, the Cllr Presbyterian School, for example, since 2015, that school 95% complete, and the government refused to open it. Bush, rats, snakes, and all kind of other Balize vermin taking over the school. When we protest, they said they will fix the auditorium. More than a year now, that still can't happen. And the children are still in the old, choked up, pigeon-infested school. They are mucking up this country. And you must be ready to vote them out. You send our children to school and tell them, do good, excel in your work. But what's happening with scholarships? In 2008, the PNM government gave out 48 scholarships. And most of them were to friends and family. Ask the PNM Senator Laurel Lizama. In 2014, the Kamla Persad-Bissessar government increased that to 470. And today, the PNM has reduced the number of scholarships again. The PNM started off in schools when they stopped giving laptops, telling you BYOD, bring your own device. So they start with bring your own device. But they will move just now to BYOF and BYOT, let me tell you. In fact, they have moved to BYOF, bring your own furniture. Because children in schools now have to carry furniture in schools. And with so many non-functional sewer systems in school, just now they will tell you, bring your own toilet. That is how bad it is in our schools. We are having students being bullied, sexually assaulted, beaten and hospitalized in schools now. Schools are not safe places. Today we have more unemployed parents, higher food prices and transport costs. And under the PNM we have seen more school dropouts. And you're still trying to blame Kamla and blame the UNC? What we are experiencing now, brothers and sisters, parents, what we are experiencing is the social consequence of a failing education system caused by PNM incompetence. They are mucking it up. And if you, in your homes or any part of Trinidad and Tobago, care about your own children, your own grandchildren, you know it is time for the PNM to go. We are seeing that perfect storm created, and our children are going down the drain. Today, we see more and more children as victims of crime. Children in at-risk communities falling prey to drugs, guns, and gag culture because of the PNM failure. In January of this year, a 14-year-old boy was identified by a newspaper as the main suspect in a double murder which took place in Benny Lane in St. Augustine, where 2 victims died of gunshot wounds. The article further stated that there were 42 children, ages 12 to 18, currently incarcerated on an array of criminal offenses, including robbery with violence, shooting with intent, kidnapping, and even murder. Our children are falling prey. How many of the 2,814 students that this Ministry of Education said dropped out of school during the COVID-19 pandemic has been reintegrated into the school system? Up to now, the minister cannot answer. The government knows that there are thousands of school dropouts, but they ignore the issue. Where do these children turn for support? Where do they turn for mentoring when they are on the streets? This government is allowing our children to fall prey to gang leaders. And just a couple of weeks ago, the minister told the country that between 2014 and 2022, there were 609 94 primary school dropouts, and 6,828 secondary school dropouts. Who was in charge in that period? Under the PNM, we are seeing massive school dropouts and an increase in criminal activity. And there is a link. There is a link. And the PNM is mucking up our children's future. We have to vote them out. Today, we look at the state of things around us. Crime spiraling out of control. And rather than attack the criminals, the Prime Minister would instead attack the people who are speaking out against crime. I have reached out to the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security, the Commissioner of Police on numerous occasions concerning the increase in murders in St. Augustine. And to date, nothing. We lobbied for pepper spray, and our political leader was a champion in speaking for pepper spray legislation. And you know, we clapped tonight, but when the PNM finally brought the pepper spray legislation to Parliament, to date, the public still cannot benefit, because the procedure to get pepper spray is similar to the procedure to get a firearm. And the procedure is so onerous that sometimes you wonder if it even makes sense applying. So while the country and the public is asking, what about our children? I ask tonight, what about the Children's Authority? In face of this government's incompetence, how long has the Children's Authority been complaining about the lack of resources and government support? Recently, the acting director of the Children's Authority said that low salaries and staff burnout was one of the reasons that the Children's Authority was understaffed. Do you know that out of 942 workers required, the Children's Authority, as of February 15, 2023, had only 236 staff members? So where are we going with that? Once again, we see the lack of compassion and care from this government in dealing with the children of our country, children who desperately need help. If the authority is suffering, one can only imagine the struggles of our children's homes, children who are in homes that are not being adequately funded, allegations of sexual abuse and other forms of abuse of our children. And the mandate of the Children's Authority is to investigate mistreatment of children, to make applications to the court for protection and placement of children in the care of the authority, to establish safe places, to do assessment for these support centers, to establish a foster care system. How many of those things can they realistically do when they are so understaffed? My friends, it really pains me when I hear of incidents of our young children losing their lives because of this government. Just a few months back in September 2023, a 13-year-old child, Andrea Lallan, was murdered after she identified her rapists. Gunmen went into their home and shot the child in her head, killing her. They paralyzed her uncle and I think her dad, the girl's father was shot in his head as well. So it raises the question as to how reports of crime are dealt with by our country. My constituent, 16-year-old schoolboy Darshan Ramnath, whom I have known as a baby, was gunned down on the train line in St. Augustine. Another child, 14 years old, was shot and killed in Las Lomas. So many of our children losing their lives. And apart from protecting the children, which this government has completely failed to do, I ask, what happens to our children when parents are murdered? What financial, mental, and emotional support is provided by the state? We have so many people being murdered. What happens to their children? Do these children drop out of school? Do they end up on the streets? We are also seeing police officers being killed in the line of duty or risking their lives. We in the UNC led by the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, have been calling for families of police officers who die in the line of duty to be compensated. And tonight, I make that call again. Tonight, my brothers and sisters, I remind you that the future of this nation is in your hands. The UNC stands ready to empower our children and to take this country forward. Let us put our shoulder to the wheel. Let us put our best foot forward and stand behind the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar as the UNC returns to government. I thank you.
Stay focused and hold your ground, because what don't kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from...
Can we get another round of applause for Sister Khadijah Ameen, Honorable MP for St. Augustine? It is said that the good things come in small packages. And we are very fortunate in Barataria in 2020 to get a small package, but a dynamic individual, a person who puts the PNM on the run every time he's in Parliament. They don't like to hear him talk at all. They try everything to keep him quiet. We have been blessed to have such an individual who is showing the care and the love for the Barataria Samoan constituents throughout a family type atmosphere that he has created. Mine is the honor and the privilege to introduce the dynamic Honorable MP for Barataria Samoan, Saddam Hosein.
You see, as them shrink me.
Barataria Sawa. Good night, Barataria Sanwan. Welcome to the United National Congress Cottage Meeting, hosted in the constituency of Barataria Sanwan, under the leadership of the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, and soon to be, in a couple months, the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight, before I begin my presentation, I just want to say thank you to the host who has graciously allowed us to use this particular venue, Mr. Primnad Geelal and his family, the activists of the Barataria Sanwan constituency, MPs, senators who had lent their support. I want to say thank you especially to the very hardworking Barataria Sanwan UNC executive, led by the hardworking industrious, and she has a pepper mouth too, Aruna Mohammed. And I also want to say happy birthday to a former teacher of mine, Mr. Azim Mandal, who is here with us. Happy birthday, sir. And at this venue, you might think it's just a paved area right on the Soccorro main road. But this particular venue holds a lot of historical and political heritage in the national landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. This particular venue that we are standing on tonight was owned by Mr. Chanka Maraj, former parliamentarian. In fact, probably where the stage is where his house was. And I'm being told, and I'm reliably informed, that during that very tumultuous period in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Buzz Butler would have sought refuge right here at Mr. Maraj's home. And that is the importance of being here tonight. Tonight, this venue would reignite the political aim and strategies, objectives of the United National Congress for us to sweep the East-West corridor and take back control of Trinidad and Tobago. My brothers and sisters, we must understand the importance of the East-West corridor. This is the power of Trinidad and Tobago. The balance of power lies throughout the corridor. Once we win the corridor, we win the government of Trinidad and Tobago. So tonight, I want to raise some very important matters in relation to national security with you. It is about time we take charge of our country. And the only way we could take charge of Trinidad and Tobago is if we wake up, and we must wake up and stand up against this incompetent Rowley regime. We cannot continue to sit down in our comfortable homes while Rowley is doing what he wants and have the citizens locked up like prisoners in their own homes because there's a current runaway crime situation. We have seen an incompetent Minister of National Security who don't know if he... I am going down that road to tell you tonight. We have seen a Commissioner of Police who appeared on live television, and I want to tell that Commissioner of Police tonight, although you are not only to be blamed, but I feel you must consult with a West Indian reader. After I saw the performance of the Commissioner of Police at that JSC, I was astounded to know that is the person who is protecting us in this country, who is in charge of all of the strategies, of the intelligence. I mean, come now, man. I was frightened, you know. I was real frightened. Because you have an incompetent minister, you have an absent, incompetent prime minister who is the head of national security, and then you have Miss Cllr here with Christopher. So where that leave we? Where does that leave Trinidad and Tobago? Where does that leave us? Now, Trinidad and Tobago, we are completely fed up of what is taking place in our country. We are fed up. Look at what is taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. I could tell you something. Right in this constituency, while everybody was preparing for Old Year's, New Year's, a family was traumatized because a mother, a daughter, was kidnapped right down the road, you know. It's not far from here. It's a stone throw away from here. Miss Anisha Budu was kidnapped. Prominent businessmen in this constituency. While the budget was being read, a couple days after, there was an attempted assassination of the Deputy Commissioner of Prisons. Right where? In Barataria. Right here in Barataria. And if, when you are leaving here, there's a building right across the road, and I want you all to just look at how much steel structure that is now being fabricated there. Bandits were taking torch, cutting open the roof to get inside the man's building. That is where we have reached in Trinidad and Tobago. That is where we have reached in Trinidad and Tobago. But the constituents of Barataria San Juan political leader has told us that enough is enough. They are ready to stand their ground with the United National Congress. They are ready to stand their ground. We are ready to support legislation when it comes to stand your ground laws and to ease up regulations where it comes to granting legal firearms to law-abiding citizens who need it. Imagine Mrs. Harewood Christopher is telling the country that there are over 25,000 FUL applications, but I only deal with 100. I only deal with 100. The Minister of National Security reported to us that there are over 30,000 illegal firearms on the streets, but only 100 FUL permits were probably denied or granted. But tonight I want to ask the Commissioner of Police, why is it that persons who have applied for their FULs and persons who have been granted provisional permits now have to go to court to force you to make a decision? Why is that? Why is that fair? That is not fair to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Businessmen need firearms to get back at the criminals. When they come into your homes, when they come into your businesses, what, you must just pick up your money and give them? That is not Trinidad and Tobago. The political leader already gave us the prescription of what to do when the criminals enter your home, and we are ready to support legislation to stand our ground. To stand our ground. Now, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is trying their best. They are very good officers in the TTPS. I must say, excellent officers in the TTPS, and in every organization there may be some bad apples. Agreed? All right. Now, in the TTPS, they are trying their best. There's one very important police station right here in this constituency. That is the Barataria Police Station. Yesterday, I had a meeting at my constituency office, Sunday evening, and we met with the police and the business community in order to try to facilitate some collaboration, cooperation, communication between these two bodies, because this is a very commercial area. We learned at that meeting that the Barataria Police Station has one police vehicle. One police vehicle. They have to man from the Maritime roundabout all the way to Arangwes. all by the Eastern Main Road, and they have one police vehicle. So I asked at that meeting, but don't you all have joint army patrols? Where the army fit in that one vehicle? Last time I checked, our vehicle are 5-seater now. That is where Trinidad and Tobago is. The government, the Minister of Finance and the Minister of National Security boasted in the budget last year that they have allocated $80 million to buy police vehicles and police equipment. It is not reaching the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight is about raising these serious concerns, and I make a clarion call for the people of my constituency. Please give the Barataria police station vehicles to protect the constituents. Protect us. The police are trying their best, but the issues of resources lies with whom? That waste of time Minister of National Security. Waste of time Minister of National Security. And another issue we have is with respect to the taxing of businessmen in this country. Businessmen are being extorted by the criminals in this country, and we must take a serious stance against that, because businesses are being closed. Families are being forced to migrate because they are fearful of the criminal element. And the Prime Minister will come in a press conference tomorrow to bumpy gum. To tell you the honest truth, I know it is my duty to listen to the Prime Minister when he speaks on matters of national importance, but I don't know if I could listen to him tomorrow. The reason is because he will bring nothing new. He is an expired Prime Minister, and he must go and carry Hines and all of them with him. He's an expired Prime Minister. He is an expired Prime Minister. Where are the 1,000 new police officers that they promised us? Now, they promised us some new CCTV cameras. You know, we're always making noise about the CCTV cameras. Well, I want to reveal something here tonight, Trinidad and Tobago. During the budget, we asked about those cameras. And I have a letter in my hand dated the 2nd of November 2023 from the Ministry of National Security. This is it, black and white. And we ask for the procurement, the cost of these cameras. This is the response. A company called Johnson Control Incorporated was selected as the preferred tenderer for these cameras at a cost of 85 million TT dollars for 2,500 cameras. And then you have to add other costs to Digicel because they have the backbone, the network for the cameras. Digicel is charging us $27 million in mobilization fees, close to 28 million, and for connectivity, $116 million. So these 2,500 cameras is costing Trinidad and Tobago $229 million. When you break down that, you know how much one camera is going to cost us? $91,680. That camera better do ultrasound, x-ray, all kind of thing, you know. Because we are paying $91,000 for those cameras. We must be able to lock up bandit left, right, and center after those cameras, because we are spending this enormous, astronomical amount of money on these cameras, $91,000. Now, I want to beg the question. We must ask where the money going. We must ask where the money going. But I can tell you where some of the money going. Because after I saw that performance of the commissioner, I like to do my research. After all, I'm the research officer of the United National Congress. So again, I have another letter in my hand. This letter is dated this time, the 1st of November 2023, from the TTPS in response to questions we asked during budget. And I want you all to hear this. Madam Commissioner is consulting persons externally from the TTPS. And I want to tell you who she consulted. One called Joan Archie. The bill for that month of November 2022 is $47,600. Joan Archie, December 2022, the bill was $23,800. We're going again. Joan Archie for the month 2023, January, $23,800. We're going again. Joan Archie, May 2023, the bill was $95,200. It have a fella called Stephen Williams. The bill for him for June 2023 was $42,400. Joan Archie, June 2023, $23,800. Joan Archie, July 2023, $23,800. Stephen Williams, September 2023, $53,600. Joan Archie, September 2023, $47,600. black and white. But then there's another company I saw in being consulted. And this company is called Odyssey Consult Inc. Limited. January 2023, they got $128,000. Let me go again. Odyssey, September 2023, $126,562.50. So I said, I don't know who is Odyssey. So I pull up the company's registry and I look to see who are the directors of this company. The directors that came up here is one called Russell. The secretary is called one Russell Huggins and Shasons. When I check to see who is this Mr. Russell Huggins, because he is deemed as a secretary of this company. When I check this thing, Russell Huggins was a former PNM minister, you know, getting $126,000. So I want to ask, Mr. Huggins, are you the same Huggins from Odyssey and the same Huggins who was the minister? Because what is Mrs. Harewood Christopher paying $126,000 in sometimes per month to this particular company? What are they consulting on? This company, I'm told, also does organizational structures, HR matters. But today, the Commissioner of Police is in court for about 95 wrongful promotions, and that matter has to be dealt with by the court. So what you're really consulting about? What they're telling you? If you want consultation, come and talk to the United National Congress. We have the plans, we have the policies, and let me tell you, if I had no bill like that, that is our duty to ensure that Trinidad and Tobago is a safe place again. It's a safe place. So Trinidad and Tobago, it have a next one I want to hit here, but I'm watching I have 51 seconds here. I don't know if I'll have the time, but we will raise it on another night. So while I leave this particular platform, I know that the carnival season is coming up, and I want to wish you all the best. Please be safe. But today I want to commend the political leader and the leader of the opposition for one stance that she took. Today, a press release was issued on what is taking place in Palestine and in Israel. And there's a clarion call that the genocide in Gaza must stop. And tonight, I support that call that we live in an international community and the genocide must stop in Palestine. I thank you very much, UNC family. I hope you enjoy your stay in the beautiful constituency of Barataria, San Juan, and hope to see you soon again. Thank you very much. Take care.
UNC family, let's hear it again for the MP for Barataria, San Juan. Good night, my leader. You all make some noise for our political leader. Brothers and sisters, this is a privilege that I honor. This is a strong woman who has fought in every battle for the United National Congress. This woman is a brave leader amongst us. A woman who is a true reflection of our political leader, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, in representation to people of Trinidad and Tobago. One of our greatest managers in the commercial industry, deputy political leader at the National Executive, a role model for many in the Senate. As you all know, this woman have rhythm. She will send Heinz home. She will send Imbert home. And she will be the one to send Rowley together with Kamla Persad-Bissessar. She and Kamla Persad-Bissessar will send Rowley and the entire PNM government home. I'll make some noise for them, man. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our beautiful sister, as I call her, our Beyonce. Make some noise, El Soccorro Barataria San Juan. Make some noise as we welcome Deputy Political Leader, Senator, the Honorable Jearlean John.
Good evening, Honorable Political Leader and Dr. Bissessar. I want to thank the Honorable Saddam Hosein for this excellent meeting, town hall meeting. Only the UNC, in the middle of Carnival, when everybody jumping up to DNA, could have you here fighting on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you so much. There's nobody like the supporters of the United National Congress. And I thank our supporters who are here and those who are tuning in, the general public who are tuning in on IETV and other, the social media, etc. UNC continues to be the voice of the voiceless and hope in a time when we are hopeless. I mean, many the speakers before me, I want to congratulate all of the speakers who preceded me, spoke about crime. Why? This wasn't planned. It is because crime is the biggest issue, the biggest threat facing our democracy at this time. Crime. And the Prime Minister last Friday held a press conference to tell us, to give us a report on what had happened when he had gone to meet with the Secretary of State and others. But I mean, he was bragging. He met with the FBI, he met with the CIA, he met with the ABC and CDE and all kind of things. But he has brought back nothing to show us, nothing tangible at all. He has brought back nothing tangible to Trinidad and Tobago. Now he flies up and down. He's in the US in Washington. The same Washington who on about the 28th or 29th of December, a few weeks ago, sent out an advisory to tell us, don't go where to Twin City. Don't go to St. Augustine. Prior to now, you will hear don't go in Port of Spain. Now they are telling you further out into the residential areas in Trinidad and Tobago. So crime has metastasized and it is going further and further. So there is our Prime Minister flying to the capitals of the world on your money to tell them that we have crime in Trinidad and Tobago. But they are sending advisories saying, yes, all you have crime. So I don't know, I mean, we need to find out, and I'm hoping he's coming to tell us tomorrow, what really he's flying up and down first class with taxpayers' money to do. If it is really just to have a photo up with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, who you know has Gaza, MP Saddam just spoke about that. He has Gaza, he has Syria, he has Yemen, he has Ukraine, all the troubles of this world. This man going up there to sit down and meet with Blinken, and all this time Blinken must be saying, why this Blinken man don't go and sit down with the opposition leader? Why this Blinken man don't get out of here? You understand? Because there is overwhelming support in Trinidad and Tobago for a bipartisan approach to solving crime. Our people are crying out to see the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition sit together. And the people are our boss. You can't sit down and say, solve crime from inside the cabinet. The people are saying, come out here and let's solve crime. Over the weekend, news broke that in St. Kitts and Nevis, a particular entertainer from Trinidad and Tobago was going up there. And they sent out a press release saying a decision was made following a comprehensive security assessment executed in collaboration with relevant local and regional authorities, following consultation with the Chamber of Industry and Commerce and other local stakeholders. The security assessment identified within the artist's work explicit endorsements of violence, promotion of criminal activities, and a consistent glorification of gang life. Now, Trinidad are exporting coffee and cocoa and sugar again. They start to export gang violence. But you know what? A Prime Minister who is engaged, a head of the police of St. Kitts and Nevis who is engaged, people with backbone, spine, and cojones with resolve say, you are coming here. You are bringing your bad disease from Trinidad here. You go right back home. If Rowley in 2015, 2016 had taken that decision and taken that approach, we would have saved over 4,000 lives. 4,000 people who would have died between 2015 or 2016 when Rowley came into office and now. 4,085 lives, presumably, probably could have been saved if he had taken that approach. To say, not here, not today, Satan, get your hands. An average of one person is murdered every 16 hours. Whilst I was coming here, they had just murdered an 85-year-old lady in Santa Margarita at her home. Just murdered her. But that is normal. We have normalized murders. You're just seeing people in the drain, the way you see rats and cockroaches long ago. Just dead bodies, just everywhere. Some of them, I don't know what it will take to move this government. How many mothers draped, motionless with grief over coffins? I mean, our alderman spoke about his wife and his brother-in-law. Draped, motionless with grief over coffins. That not moving the government. But I tell you tonight, UNC, don't worry with people who want to tell you who can win and who could win. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. In a few months, just as speakers before me have said, Kamla Persad-Bissessar will walk into Whitehall. She will walk into Whitehall. And we'll have a leader of conscience, a leader with empathy, a leader who cares that young black boys are being killed for what? For nothing. They have no jobs. They have nothing. They have no opportunities. I am not saying they are right, but they have nothing. All that Rowley met there, he took away. And they're like caged animals. One street car go to the next street. As a matter of fact, it has some children in some of these areas. Car come to 7, you know, because if you say 6, they might kill you. Some of them car come to 8, because if you say 7, they might kill you. You're passing and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They kill you. It's an insult. That is where we have reached. This place is no man's land. And we are now in a hopeless place. And are we going to tolerate that? This sweet TNT, do we have hope? Do we believe that we could bring this country back together again? You have to tell me when. When will we see hope again? When they change the government. What is bad? Not only are we having 1 murder in every 16 hours, out of every 100 murders, you know how much they're solving? 12. So 88 murderers walking up and down in the supermarket with you. They're sitting down behind you in church. They're winding down to DNA in Panorama Band. Over 3,000 murderers. And that is just for this period, not prior to. We cannot allow this state of affairs to continue. 490 are caught, and about 59 are really brought to justice, but not even on time. And who they have caught, are left to rot behind the walls of them boys' jail. And you know what they're doing there? They're calling shot. So it's a no-ending spiral of terror. So I want to know tomorrow, will he come in and tell us? What do you think he's coming to tell us? Have a safe carnival. But what we need jobs. Jobs are crime mitigation tool. We need better schools. We need schools with better teachers. We need single mothers who are helped. They are vulnerable. A lot of them are vulnerable. They must know that when you have unprotected sex, you're going to have children with no fathers. All of these things. We have to bring back our communities, and we have to ensure that mother and father they have to raise children. You can't leave children to raise themselves. So a lot of the values are gone. But this government, they care, because if they come in here now, they are coming in well secure. They have a shield of steel around them, well protected, 24 hours. Some of them, they have so much protection, even they keep a man on protection. That's a little fight going. Everybody under protection, but they don't care 24 hours. They don't care about anybody. I mean, it sounds trite now to say they don't care, because I don't know what it is, how to explain where this government has reached. Because I cannot understand how you could look at young people, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 25, just dying. Just dying. And there is no intervention. The last time the Prime Minister said he's going to give 100 million to old soldiers to go and do a rundown 20-year-old boy. How are they going to do that? That you need to put that 100 million into schools, into jobs, into sports. That is what you have to do with the 100 million. Not just throw it up, you might as well put it in Queen's Park Savannah and burn it. Because that will bring no relief. And of course, he just said that the breathless media will just go and write, because he's about send the fool a little further. No answers to the questions. We really need, we have to start all over again. So whilst this Prime Minister for Carnival, you see how we dancing? He hand up in the air. Dancing, whining, whilst our citizens have their hand in the air, begging for mercy, begging for their lives from merciless criminals who just coming in waves, breaking into your houses, raping and stealing and plundering with no relief in sight. How long are we going to put up with that? How long are we going to put up with that? Whilst the Prime Minister plays golf and travels the world at taxpayers' expense, those same taxpayers suffer at the hands of these criminal class that has absolutely no fear of the police, of prison, or Allen's funeral home. They don't care about that. As far as they are concerned, it's an honor to die. How are we going to deal with this? All of the government's focus is to get a compliant media to print on their front page, as they did on Sunday, about which commissioner was not the worst. Can that help us? That cannot help us. Who not the worst? People are being murdered all over the place, and the government concerned about a popularity contest. This is not a race to the bottom. We don't care who is the best, who is the worst. All we want to do is to feel safe. We want to feel safe when we go to the supermarket. We want to feel safe when we go to the pharmacy. We want to feel safe when we go to church. All of these now are high-wired, endangered activities. You can get killed going to church, and people are killed going to church. People are killed going to the supermarket. How are we going to get relief? Does it make sense? It makes no sense to me to say change hands, you know. Does it make sense to change hands? And put whom? From the government. What we have to do to bring any relief, we have to change the government. We have to change the government. So they could print how much they want in the popularity contest. Who feels it knows it. Junior Emmanuel knows that his daughter Sade has not come home since 2018. He knows that. And they have been waiting, although they have found parts of remnants of a burnt body, they have been waiting for forensic to say that is his daughter. So for 5 years, he's waiting for them to start an investigation for murder. So up to now, we take murder because they cannot determine that this is his daughter. When this woman, sleeping in her bed, Miss Anita Peterson, and they came and they killed her, Tiffany 19, Shane 17, Ariana 14, and Faith 10. How that doesn't move the government? What kind of government do we have that they can't be bothered, that all of them in Carnival Fete, when they should be dung in sackcloth and ashes, even before Lent? Wondering, what should we do? What else can we do? They show no mercy themselves. So what do you expect from the criminal? If we are getting no mercy from those we have voted into office, what do we expect from the criminals? So as a matter of fact, what I think what the government has been saying is bug off. Because as far as they are concerned, the commissioner they have in place is not the worst. But Prime Minister, this is not a race to the bottom. Our people are dying. The country is not interested in if your commissioner is the worst or the best. People just want to feel safe in this country. I think that is what is on the top of everybody's mind. How? Although the government remains stiff-necked and arrogant, while little children are being molested, are being raped, and even worse than that, killed. I think MP Khadijah was talking about some of these children who have been killed. And I mean, we read about it all the time. The little girl in Sandy Grande at 6 years, 9-year-old Jomeo, who was killed in the savannah, and so on. So when the Prime Minister picked up his notes last week, Friday, and said, I will see you on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. 4 days. Every 16 hours, we have a murder. You know how many people would have died? 6. And that is if the murderers having a slow day. Because if they're doing good, about 80 people dead since Friday gone. And I'm sure if we count, it will be well over 10. People are just falling like flies in this country. So El Soccorro, at a rate of 1 murder every 16 hours, let us do the math. We have about 6 people would have died until the government gets, or the Prime Minister gets up to the mic. This is a man who, after 8.5 years as Prime Minister, is still talking about developing a crime plan. We don't need a crime plan. We need a strong woman with resolve. We don't need a crime plan. We are long past that. We are long past that. Since Mova, when they killed, I think, 3 men, then the Prime Minister had some national recovery program. It never worked in 2020. Since 2020 to now, about 2,000 people have died. Murdered. They are dead from a heart attack and sugar and diabetes and so. They died from murder. In desperation, people are calling on the leader of the opposition to do something. Folks, the leader of the opposition has no constitutional remit She has no resources. She can't order police to do anything. She can't create jobs. What you have to do for Kamla Persad-Bissessar to create jobs? You have to vote her into office. You can't vote for Rowley and then want Kamla to run the country. It's impossible, constitutionally. Because that's what you want. You're voting for Rowley and then say, but you know she used to create jobs. You know she cared about single mothers. You know she cared about school children. Yes, she cared. And that is why you have to vote for the United National Congress headed by Kamla Persad-Bissessar. So the UNC has been reaching out to the Prime Minister. We continue to do that. We have been reaching out through the consultations, and our leader will announce again when the next one will be. The Prime Minister continues to refuse to meet because he is surrounded by security and large walls. Well, it's not only that. Barataria, Soccorro and Arangwas next door used to be the food basket of the nation. But a lot of your farmers have been driven out of business because of predal larceny. So all of that, because now we have to take precious foreign exchange to buy food when we had food planting right here in El Socorro. And what is happening? You have the big conglomerates buying food with that forex, and when they're buying food with the forex, they're buying Obia. So even that gone foreign. So everything with Rowley gone up. You know when you could have gone down Moruga and get something. The beach is about people in the seawater. You understand? Bathe with that blue soap. Just in Moruga, they buy my MP family here. Now that and now I'll get big shot on the Rowley. They go in Miami to see icy dead people. And Rowley has over 4,000 dead people right here. You have to take no flight to go nowhere to see black dead people. We need to tell them that. So, folks, in wrapping up, the government of Kamla Persad-Bissessar went beyond the call of duty, that administration, to reduce crime. It's not written in the stars. You have to do the work. So when she created over, how many jobs were there? Over 50,000 jobs. Improve the ease of doing business, develop educational pathways and opportunities, provided infrastructure so that vast areas of rural Trinidad and Tobago can be included in a piece of the pie. When we had box drains for the smaller contractors and built Cllr children hospitals and over 8,000 houses. All of this was to create jobs and opportunity. That is what you call trickle-down economics. Not that one group of people hold it and trickling down just so in terms of minimum wage, and you could hardly see it. These programs were targeted, these social programs were targeted at the poor and vulnerable and even the differently abled. So I want to give way for our leader to come up now and tell us some of her plans, some of what she would have done and what she will do when she comes up, when her time comes around again. And in this festival week, I join with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and urge our citizens to be responsible. Be your brother's keeper. Ladies, mothers, do not leave your children at home alone and unsupervised to become soft targets for those with criminal intent. This is not the time for your milkshake to bring all the boys to the yard. This is a serious time. Don't leave children to be preyed on by these evil people that we have pervading our society now. Stay at home and protect those for whom you are responsible. UNC, be not afraid. Stay the course. Keep hope alive. And soon, your day, your sun will rise again. Thank you so much.
See blood. You squeeze, you go see blood. And if you squeeze me, you go feel the love. We are one people under the sun, one nation under the law. So who feel the black? Who feel the white? I don't know. But it's settled tomorrow night. Who feel the wrong? Who feel the right? Come and go. And all who feel the too bright, let me jump up, let me wind up, party non-stop. We come to play mass. Every creed and class, don't let nothing pass. Like a ready TV, all the love inside away.
First woman Prime Minister, first woman Attorney General, first woman to chair the Commonwealth of 54 nations, first woman opposition leader. Welcome KPB Plus, solid everywhere.
one side away.
Evening, Barataria, son one. UNC, are you in the house? Thank you so much, MP Saddam, and the team here in Barataria, San Juan, for this beautiful outdoor meeting. Does it feel good? You're going to be locked down somewhere in your house. It's such a lovely environment, Saddam. Thank you and your team for putting this together. As I say good evening to all our beautiful people who are here, let me thank the chairpersons. Nazeemool is a veteran, you know him. Alderman Nazeemool Mohammed, give him a round of applause. I understand Councillor Amit get rechristened tonight. He is now Amitabh Bachchan. Thanks to Jearlean John. All the powerful speakers on this platform tonight, Alderman Kareem Baird, and our sympathies always with you and your family for that tragic incident in your life. MP Khadijah Ameen, MP Saddam Hosein, and Senator Jearlean John, all of you, powerful team of speakers here tonight. And the MPs have joined us, senators who are here, activists all. I say good evening. This meeting is our first for this year. Did you realize that? This is our first Monday night meeting for this new year. And we did something else. We began the anti-crime talks, which I'll share with you, which I thought was really, really important, that we began the year with that push, because that is the number one issue in our country today. Our country now is in a state of anarchy. Citizens are terrified, living in their own personal states of emergency. In contrast to the brutal reality facing regular, unarmed, and unprotected citizens, ministers of government, I think JJ might have mentioned and others, ministers of government, their families, they continue to enjoy life under heavily armed, taxpayer-funded security. Understand that, huh? Understand that they move around. You can't get a car, one car at the Barataria station here, but when you see them first roll down to Parliament, or they roll into the feds, you know how many vehicles are following them? You know how many armed security personnel? And who is paying for that? You, the taxpayers, we are paying for that. So they are heavily armed, heavily protected. That's why they don't care about the rest of you. They just do not care. This is why citizens are clamoring for their voices to be heard by the people in authority. Citizens want to speak about their experiences with crime. Citizens want to participate in fixing the crime crisis. They want to help. They want to contribute. They want to participate. I want to remind you, on November 20th, 2023, at a news conference, the others on the other side, they falsely claimed that the duty-elected UNC opposition was never serious about anti-crime talks to deal with the crime scourge in our country. They said we were not serious. We were never serious. They said when crime rages, the UNC gets a political bonanza. They say we get a political bonanza and that we are celebrating. What kind of sick people will think that anybody will celebrate a crime scourge in our country? How unreal are they and off the ground they are? So they want to blame you and say, we don't care about the crime. We're happy with the crime. I want to tell you tonight, I am blasted, vexed, and fed up of this wicked, incompetent government. We all are. Every family, every home is touched by the crime, man. You all are the only ones who don't seem to care. So we vex. All the vex, we blasted vex. We are very, very angry about this crime situation in our country. And we'll continue to speak out. So I remind you of that. Through our anti-crime talks, we have rejected and refuted this false statement that the UNC doesn't care about the crime. That is what they want to give to the population. That they are critical, we are critical of the government. We are supporters of criminals, murderers, the rapists, the gun and drug smuggling people. Indeed, they are emboldened by this PNM, not by the UNC. They're emboldened under the PNM because the PNM does nothing. They do not care. No one delights in the homicide stats of human beings, especially as Khadijah shared with us, so many innocent children who have perished due to continuing crimes in our country. So if you're angry with me for saying I blasted Vex, I am even more angry than you. And we will repeat, the UNC is very upset, very angry, and will do everything we can to deal with crime in this country. And that is why I began the year with the anti-crime talks, because the government had no intention of engaging in anything real to deal with crime in our country. They had no intention. And they still have none. They have no intention. Except to do what? Blame everybody else. You remember the playbook I brought to you last year? This is so still relevant. Is it not? Rowley's propaganda. The ultimate disinformation handbook. It's all over and over. It's replay. Press replay. Press replay. Press replay. So, here it is. I want to repeat it to remind you in this new year, because they're doing the same thing again. Number one, blame the UNC. Number two, blame Kamla. Number three, blame the people. Number four, cry race. And when you're finished doing that, number six, repeat over and over and over and over again. Remember it. Again with the same replay, press replay. That the UN stakeholders are willing, ready, and able to work with government and other stakeholders to combat crime, which not just threatens our peace and our stability or security, but also our economic standing. In our last crime talk, we had a person who presented, one of the panelists, telling us about the damage to the economy that we are going through because of the crime. And we know it, we see it. You know, I caused an advertisement to be placed through the parliament. There are several vacancies in the office of the leader of the opposition. And you will not believe, over 1,000 persons, over 1,000 persons have applied. And there's just about 3 jobs. Over 1,000 persons, you know. Why is that? You think they really want to come and work with Kamla? They just want to work. They want jobs because there are no jobs in the country for people. So I know in the past we had advertised many years ago, we never got that number of applications. About 1,000 applications today. So review, as the case may be. No creation, nothing coming out of this wicked government. You know, I propose openly, publicly, let us have bipartisan crime talks with government, because all people can talk about is the anxiety and the fear of the crime. I take comfort in the incredible results we are achieving from our anti-crime talks, that people really want to contribute and help. These talks have been so successful that many people are starting to borrow some of our ideas, and we are happy for that on a smaller scale. We are willing, ready, and able to work with anyone who wants to deal with the problems we are facing. We are activists, remember, and advocates against crime and criminality. Even as we are being murdered, people are being murdered on an average of 45 persons per month. JJ told us about 1 in every 16 hours. There's about 45 persons. These are human beings, you know, not animals being slaughtered. These are humans being slaughtered at the rate of about 45 persons per month under this government. You and your UNC are walking the talk. We are not just talking the talk, we are walking the walk. We are activists, advocates against crime and criminality. And we are getting endless support from hundreds of thousands all across our beloved land. Hundreds of thousands have witnessed with their own eyes and saw the huge turnout at our crime talks. Some of you would have seen in La Jolla, the first one we did. The hall was overflowing. People were all outside. And by the time we got to San Fernando, I think that was last week, Monday, the hall just could not contain them. They were inside, they filled the hall, and they were overflowing outside of the hall. I don't know where we'll get a bigger venue. The only bigger venue we can get is when we hit the streets, hit the ground, and we go public. to campaign against this wicked, incompetent government. And may I advise you, our next anti-crime talk will be on the 19th. In other words, enjoy your carnival and be safe. After carnival, Monday the 19th, we will resume with our anti-crime talks. The venue will be shared with you in due course. And the reason for that, we're looking for bigger venues, but those are sort of short in supply at this time. So thousands are coming out. As I said, hundreds came out of La Jolla. The hall could not accommodate everyone, and I apologize for that. And in San Fernando, we had over 1,200 persons registered, actually signed to say, I am here in these talks. And again, others who did not sign, who are outsiders, overflowing in San Fernando. We in the UNC know that this is what you want to heal our beloved country. And we made it happen. So as I say, we talk the talk and we walk the walk. We said we will do the anti-crime talks. And yes, we have carried out that promise and will continue to do so throughout the length and breadth. Grandy, you beware. Kenwin, beware. Be ready. After we do the 19th, the next anti-crime talk will be in your region. So start looking for a venue for us, please. Kenwin and team from Grandy. We proved, as I say, we could bring out everyone together without fanfare, without pomp, without bragging. We made it happen across the political spectrum. And I saw one or two detractors, you know, I don't know why I even talk about them, but just to clarify and clear your brains. One or two detractors put up, people came in maxi taxi. How you want them to come? You want them to come by aeroplane? You want them to come in scooter? They came in maxis because they had huge numbers. They wanted to come. They come in maxis. What's wrong with that? The majority of the traveling population in our country, how they travel? Maxi taxi. Just a few. Yeah, he know. Yes, Melvin. Yes. As soon as he lands, he flies out again. You're sure right. So don't get chained up, as they say. People came in the maxis. What did we do? Did UNC go and kidnap people and put them in the maxi? The people came there voluntarily. And in their various parts that they came from, they get together and say, hey, we'll take a maxi. So don't get chained up by detractors. Let's thank all those who came out last Monday. As I thank you here tonight for coming in, Barataria San Juan, as we continue our campaign against this wicked government. We made it happen across the political spectrum, I said, and we will continue to do that. Changes must be made very clearly. I know JJ said, don't say move Hines and don't move this one. We must make changes at national security management level. And you see, I'm going to say it tonight because I know tomorrow when Rowley come. Why do you think he put his meeting for Tuesday? Why didn't Tuesday comes after Monday? Yeah, so you're going to listen to us tonight. Mr. Rowley, I'd say, you start, move Hines, move Erla, move the AG, the line AG, and when you're done move, you move yourself and move all of them. Just go. Just go. Don't come with lies tomorrow in your trumped up press conference tomorrow. Let me remind you again, we were the ones months ago, since April last year, we asked Rowley to meet with us. We approached him to work with the team and his team. We asked him kindly to be part of the team. We did that. It was all over the news that your UNC made that move. He refused to meet us and left hundreds more to die. Our anti-crime talks, that means your voices, our voices, will change our landscape. Our talks have already changed the landscape. As I say in the morning, there will be this government press conference on national security. Tomorrow, Rowley, if you name man, move, as I said, Hines. Move the AG, line AG. Move the Commissioner of Police. And move the Police Service Commission and look for a proper Commissioner of Police. And as I said before, when you're done, pack your bags and go. Move out. Move out. This is the only way you can show you're serious. And if you're a man, call the election now and let the people decide. Let the people choose whether they will stand for you and vote for you to continue to be incompetent and inept, or whether they will put a UNC government that we will stand our ground, we'll fight the criminals, and we'll fight all that is wrong. I listened to the Calypso Fiesta yesterday. Some really good songs, by the way, but I can't choose. I'm not a judge. But I heard one young lady singing, and I agree with her, you know. She said, they talk about stand your ground with respect to arming personnel and so on. She said, but she is standing her ground. She is standing her ground against everything that is wrong. Do we agree with her? Stand your ground against everything that is wrong. So it's crime, it's a corruption, it is a poverty, it's a non-creation of jobs, and every other thing that you can imagine. Let's stand our ground together against all that is wrong. As leaders, we owe it to the people, our supporters who elected us into office, to take TNT safely forward. That is why tonight, I'm inviting the Prime Minister to join our anti-crime talks. Join us. Come out and meet the real people of our country. Come out and hear from the people who elected you into office. And you're welcome, as I said, to join us anytime, any place, anywhere, to listen to real people. One thing we must have in common is our love for the people in our country. And again, I say, Prime Minister, come to the public talks. And if you don't want to come to ours, well, start your own crime talks, anti-crime talks. Why don't you do it? Why you want to run Washington to listen to them? JJ's put a nice thing. I won't go back with the blinking and whatever. But why are you going foreign? Why don't you talk to your people here? The people who elected you to put you in office. Why? Why are you afraid to face the public? I understand last week or sometime they're busy meeting down in San Fernando and the promenade. What happened? Total cancel, last minute just canceled. Collapsed. You will not face people. That's why tonight I say, join us, and if you don't want to join us, well, do your crime talks, anti-crime talks. Let love for TNT triumph. Let us win this war against these criminals. I remain hopeful for a positive reply, Mr. Prime Minister, and I hope to see you soon. Not on a plane, but to see you in the public and in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. So let's come to Madam Christopher now. You know, we supported that lady, remember? People tell me, Kamla, you're crazy. Why? We gave her support in the Parliament as a first woman commissioner of police. Give her a chance, let her go, and let her be. And now she cannot protect citizens, but seems to be now on a crusade to take away legal firearms from existing holders of FULs. Imagine she tells the country, mentioned before already, she has issued 100 FULs in 13 months out of 25,000 applications. 100 out of 25,000 applications. In a most embarrassing appearance before that JSC that this country has ever seen. Now, is this just incompetence or laziness? Or is it that this is, what is the word, preaching the PNM gospel? Is it about preaching the gospel of the PNM? Because the PNM is saying, no, do not give any law-abiding citizens firearms. Is that the gospel of 25,000? You will tell this country 100. You dealt it. We don't have the 100 were given, but she dealt with 100. A blind man could see when this commissioner of police was put into place. What did the police service commission ask? How did they interview? How did they make a decision? They also had duty to tell us why they chose Madam Christopher. They were the ones who chose her. And at the end of the day, in the Parliament, you said, okay, give it a chance. This commissioner of police seems to be preaching, as I say, the gospel of the PNM. And is that because the UNC has committed to giving legal firearms to law-abiding citizens? That, as I say, this seems to be the policy of the PNM and not of the commissioner. Now, how far back do you want to go? Madam Christopher is going to be in the courthouse very soon again about issuing legal firearms license. It seems, up to today, I'm told, 99.9% of gun violence in the country is with what? Illegal firearms. 99.9%. Gary Griffith issued 6,800 firearms when he was Commissioner of Police, which brought us about 2,266 firearms annually. Other commissioners before Gary issued about an average of 700 per year. So the 3,400 issued to qualified civilians, you know what percentage that is of the population? 0.25 of the population. So it's like a mass arming of people with guns and legal firearms. Half of the firearms Griffith issued were for guess whom? Half were for past and present members of the protective services, police, soldiers, air guard, coast guard, prisons, customs and immigration, and fire officers. So they're not given out willy-nilly as they want you to believe. The other half Griffith issued was for qualified civilians, as I said, 3,400 or 0.25 of the population. So tens of thousands of people applied for firearms before, during Griffith's tenure, and commissioners before and after Griffith, they have all been faced with a backlog of applications. Griffith did not, I'm told, have the common courtesy to acknowledge applicants. So people are applying and they wouldn't say, okay, received. Backlog of 25, but not even a little piece of paper. Maybe you have no paper, because I'm told the police are really hard pressed for toilet paper, printed materials, and everything else, including cars at the stations. So today, Commissioner Cllr Christopher, so I'm told you she's facing numerous lawsuits from the public for persons seeking at least an acknowledgement or reasons for refusal of the FUL. If Griffith had remained in office and continued to issue FULs at the rate that he was doing, it would have taken, guess what, 12 years to just clear the backlog, just to clear it. And that would not include any new persons who would be applying. Despite the numerous incidents of the use of legal firearms to protect innocent lives and property, the new instructions coming out of the TTPS state that every 3 years, persons who have a license for the firearms, they have to reapply for an FUL. Do you imagine what that means? It means that the commissioner can decide to issue it or not to issue it. Take it away, you're right, not to issue. Every 3 years, you don't have to apply. It seems to me that this is a blatant and underhanded plan to execute the government's agenda against legal firearms and their owners. This new system by the TTPS and the commissioner is arbitrary and does not seek disqualification for reasonable grounds. For anything, this commissioner got up in the morning and she said, I don't like Arnold face. I'm not giving it to him. But I like Meihu face, so I'll give Meihu. There should be reasonable grounds to refuse, not because I like you, I don't like you, Kareem. It should be reasonable. And then it goes on a political platform, Keith Rowley stated they found 10,000 FUL applications. This is in line with the 25,000 backlogs. But he went further to claim that people had to pay $50,000 to get their firearm. You see what he does? Prime Minister of disinformation. That's what I read for you from the book. If you have this knowledge, Prime Minister, that people paying $50,000 is a big racket, is a criminal enterprise, why is it up to today not one person has been charged? Why don't you take that information to the police and make your report? You know why? Because you just come on a platform of propaganda with no evidence, with no facts. So if it is Emailgate all over again, yes, disinformation. And if persons are found to violate the law, they should be charged. But then Rowley will go to a station. If he does intend so to do, he does not. He just talks, chase your brain, chain you up. When you hear things people say, he just chases up some people's brains. And let us wake up and smell the coffee and understand. So go and make a report. And if you make a false report, then you should be charged for wasting police time. Should be charged. Don't make these grand statements. So tomorrow come and tell us, where's your evidence that people paying, how much I said? $50,000 he told us. 50,000, where's the evidence? Bring it. Bring it. In an attempt to further their agenda, this is the PNM I'm speaking of. Remember, a man was abducted from Barbados. You all remember? He was a firearms dealer, legally. They abducted this man in Barbados. Whom? TTPS officers. How they reached? Who gave them permission? They would have had to get approval from senior government officials to go and kidnap this man, abduct him, and bring him back to Trinidad. And up to today, that person, nor any other person responsible for the abduction, they have not been investigated. PNM Police Service leadership, corrupt and incompetent. The agenda seems to be about making an issue of firearms issued under Griffith. It is a non-issue because, as I said before, issued to civilians just 0.25 of the population. Then the audits, nothing from these audits, nothing found, nothing new. And then now we have this new policy for renewal of the license every 3 years, all aimed at denying firearms to law-abiding citizens. The government's agenda of going after legal firearms is hypocritical. It is the same Keith Rowley and company that we all mentioned to you. They requested many firearms for their friends and family. You want me to call name? I'll leave Gary Griffith to call those names for you because he has the evidence. For friends and family, including requesting a dealership for someone to sell more guns in Tobago. One of your friend and family, Gary, I call upon you to call names and we will whistle. When the right name is called, we will whistle. Today I call on government officials, PNM officials, and their families to give up their personal firearms license. You don't want any law-abiding people to get, well, you give up yours. But that is a hypocrisy. They're charlatans. They will never give up their own. I know they're hypocrites. They will never do it. Because what? They care only about themselves, their friends, and their family. I repeat tonight, when you put us in government, the UNC will give law-abiding citizens legal firearms. And again, if you are against that, nothing is wrong. You don't have to agree with everything. If you are against such a thing happening, well, just don't apply. Simple as that. Don't apply. And this reminds me, when them criminals come in your home and they invade your home, make tea and let them sit down and drink tea. They can't protect themselves. So welcome the criminal and give them tea to drink. And I tell you, I want to remind you how the PNM and some of their supporters were against the laptops we wanted to give the children. You all remember? They were so against it. But I'll tell you, not a single one of them wrote a letter saying that they don't want their child to get the laptop. Not one, That is hypocrisy of the PNM. Not one between 2010 and 2015. Everyone we gave the laptop to what? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And who took it away? When the PNM came, Rowley and the PNM took it away from the children. Khadijah almost did a little obscene word here with what was it? About the devices and so on. I will not try to repeat it in case I get it wrong. BYOD, bring your own device, but you had some others too, which I'll leave alone. And so they complain about the UNC programs. They're always in line, however, to apply. That is the hypocrisy. So if you are against giving legal firearms to law-abiding citizens, do not apply. Simple. You all agree? Just don't apply. You don't want it. Nobody forcing you to take it. Apply if you want it, and if you meet the criteria, the UNC will work towards giving these legal firearms to people. Tonight I want to tell you, I feel for all the police officers in our country. I know that they feel very insulted with the 4%, which you are forced to accept from government. It is very unfair. To add to the 4% insult, many of the police officers have not gotten what they were promised. I'm told some have got the back pay, but many have not got the back pay. We feel your pain. We feel your pain. This government, again, before Christmas, promising all this back pay before Christmas. Yeah, and everybody say, yeah, great. And then what happens? They always fail to keep their promises. Back pain, yes. But back pain instead. The government does not understand or care about you. Again, I promise you that all members of the protective services, we will take care of you. We'll ensure you get what you deserve. A UNC government that secures our protectors, that is what we will be. We will make sure you get your pay increases. And you remember when we had a time in office when we couldn't conclude the negotiations for the police pay, What did I do? What did my government do? We gave everyone cash, cold hard cash, $1,000, which they are still receiving today. They are tax-free and they're still getting that today. Remember that. Cash in hand, not an insulting 4%. And after that, we went on to increase the pay for the police officers. I tell you, when you give us the chance to be your government, we will make sure we have a competent Minister of National Security and a competent Commissioner of Police. A license for prisons and military officers. Everyone. Results about some bad oranges. But majority of the officers are hard work and they put their lives on the line at risk every single day. So they should be protected, their families should be protected. That is the future we have for you. And I ask you, our brave men and women who make up the TTPS, do not stay home and protest this carnival. I implore you, do not stay home and protest over the carnival. Your citizens need you out there on the streets. Our nation needs you. Tonight I respectfully and humbly ask our officers to report to work during the carnival season and keep the citizens safe. Let us thank those officers as we ask them to come out to work in this carnival season. We have visitors for carnival. We have our sons and daughters who will be out enjoying their youth and the young at heart. Your nation needs you. And I'm asking you not to stay home to protest in this season. Go to work knowing we will remember how you put our citizens in front of your own needs. We will remember. We need you to protect us all during this season. And I will ensure that you are all protected under the next UNC government. Together, after this general election, my government and our protectors and law enforcement will bring back security to TNT. And as I close, I look out and ask you to look out for the PNM campaign. They've already started it, I shared with you. Our talks have already caused a major PNM scramble. It has caused the government to hurriedly roll out the PNM's upcoming general election campaign. Be warned and be aware. They didn't plan to let out their campaign so early, but our anti-crime talks have them scrambling to appear relevant. So let's look out for their campaign. Their next general campaign is to spend millions across media saying that hundreds of thousands of Trinidadians and Tobagonians are not patriotic. Point one. They do it all the time. We are not patriotic. Their campaign will be that people are bad talking the government. Their campaign, as always, is to try and divide the country. Their plan is to try and alienate hundreds of thousands of the electorate across TNT. Here's the upcoming general election campaign. They'll be saying that the hundreds of thousands who are in pain, who are hurting, who are fearful, who are anxious and emotional, they said these people are bad talking the government. Look out for that campaign. Look at them closely. They have already started. Kamla bad talking the government. The UNC bad talking the government. Fali bad talking the government. Johnny Abraham bad talking the government. So the families of those who are raped and murdered and missing are bad talking the government too in their book. The thousands of small businessmen and women trying to make ends meet and who can't get foreign exchange, they too bad talking the government in their book. The thousands upon thousands of workers who want fair wages, according to their campaign, they are bad talking the government. Hundreds of thousands are so angry because this government are greedy for your property tax. Those persons who are bad talking the government, bad talking the government. And if thousands are truthfully saying that Rowley's policies have caused them to be paupers and scroungers, that too, they say, is bad talking the government. But let them come, because we all know that between bullets and body bags, there is no right choice with the PNM. Between bubble and bad mind, there is no right choice. Between bullying and bludgeoning, there is no right choice. It is only crazy people We'll call 8 years and a half, going on to half in August will be 8.5 years. Well, no, in August will be 10 years. We are now in what, February, so about 8.5 years. There is no right choice. As I say, so the crazy people will now say the right choice is after these 8.5 years of treating people wrong. Call that a right choice. And as I speak of government propaganda, I will not speak further on the dragon gas. Yesterday our MPs went to about that dragon issue. Very happy. Dragon gas deal could come through. Why? It will benefit everybody in Trinidad and Tobago. I think everybody will be happy. So don't say I'm bad-mouthing the dragon gas deal. I'm not. But Prime Minister, I could say a lot more, but I'll actually do one thing. Go to Maduro. He's your partner. Dancing in Congo line and thing, remember? He's your partner. You know how we can rescue this dragon gas deal, Prime Minister? Your friend could help you and help Trinidad and Tobago. Go and look for Maduro and tell him to have free and fair elections in Venezuela. And then the US will not reimpose the sanctions on that dragon gas deal. That's one thing you can do. And you can do it. He's your friend, your dancing partner. Ask him. Help him. And that is one way, Prime Minister, if you really care about dragon gas deal, and we all do care to get that extra gas, go up to Maduro and tell him, just call a free and fair election. You all agree? Once that is all that the US wanted, you know, free and fair elections. What's wrong with free and fair elections? You have a problem with that? Well, I think you have a problem with free and fair elections. See for this one coming? I'm starting from today. We will write to every international organization, every single one, to call for international observers. Let the party get it together and let's start from today. We begin that. We want free and fair elections. Don't follow your partner Maduro. Don't want free and fair elections, which has now shut down your dragon gas deal. He's your friend. Conga line dancing partner. It's good. That's one thing you can do to save this deal. The second thing you can do, and it's not an either or, you can do both. We have long-standing trading partnerships with the US of A. We have a long history of very amiable, amicable relationships in trade and otherwise. You can also speak to the US and ask them if they're kind enough to make an exception with respect to the dragon gas deal. So you can work on both ends. Your great diplomacy, you say, what is the best salesman for Trinidad and Tobago? So far, I haven't seen one thing that you have been able to sell well anywhere you went abroad. So try both. Get your partner Maduro, just call free and fair election. Imagine they ban the opposition leader from contesting a seat. I mean, how can that be free and fair? You're so afraid the lady, you're just afraid the woman, you will not let her fight. Free and fair, and if she wins, she wins. That is what democracy is about. And after our last election, I will tell you, the whole of the map of Trinidad was yellow. It is a color of democracy. It is a color of democracy. So after that last local, that map became so yellow. And Maduro, remember, has broken his promises before. He broke his promise about his free and fair elections. That's how the US said, okay, go ahead with dragon gas deal. He had promised free and fair, but now he's clamping down. And you know what I'm worried for? I'm worried for our brothers and sisters in Guyana. Because Maduro will break that promise too. You know why? Because every time he has an election, he raises his bogey that he's going to invade Guyana. That's what he does. Every election, going to invade Guyana. He'll break that promise too. So don't be surprised in these coming months of the election, starts to threaten Guyana again. I wonder what Mr. Rowley will then do. Will he stand with Guyana? Or will he stand with his Dasa partner? We wait to see. So, as I close here tonight, again, I thank Saddam. May I have some water, please? Can I thank Saddam for a great meeting tonight and all the speakers? Is he already? We had a great meeting, and you see what's happening? The wind is so nice. It's just blowing away every piece of paper. Can I get my piece of paper, please? So let's see Maduro break his promises. He's already broken it with respect to the elections. And let's see if he'll break his promise that was brokered by that great Prime Minister in St. Vincent, Mr. Gonzalez, Prime Minister Gonzalez. See if he'll break that. And my closing remarks, UNC has always meant unity. Unity is in our DNA. Remember how we got our name, UNC, from the ANC in South Africa from Mandela, and the other one from India. Our great name is unity. Unity is in our DNA. We all know this, and where we are tonight in this melting pot that is Barataria and San Juan is a true reflection of unity, and I can see it in your faces here tonight, of that diversity and what we say unity in diversity. Saddam's supporters will tell you that Barataria has become a true hub for unity, business, education, sport, and culture. In the last LG, as I said, we taught them a lesson about unity. Almost the entire map of Trinidad was the color of true democracy. Everybody knows that true democracy is true unity, as that map was turned yellow. That is the color of democracy. That is the color of unity. You know why? Sunshine does not discriminate. When the sun rises upon everyone. And that is the true color of unity and democracy. Sunshine does not discriminate. This is your UNC for unity. Your UNC for unity. Enjoy your carnival. No matter how you celebrate it, some will stay home, some will go to the beach, some will go elsewhere. But many, many, many will be journeying into the towns and cities for carnival time. Please stay safe, keep safe, be safe, as we look forward to seeing you again on the 19th for our third anti-crime talks. God bless you all. Know I love you as always, and I have a lot of love you. Right? Somebody told me they saw me recently. Somebody told a friend of mine that, it's the first time I'm seeing this lady in person, but she's so small. I said, well, that's a compliment. We'd all like to feel we're looking trim and slim. She said, but she's so tiny, but she's fight. And when you watch her on TV, she's stronger as ever. Let's go strong as ever. Be strong, UNC, and proud. UNC and proud. God bless you all. Go home safe.
So who feel the